Hey guys, Tony here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing really well. In this video, I'm going to give you a tour of my newly finished home theatre. I've been working on it for a while now, and while there are always upgrades in my mind, I finally have my theatre at a point where it's time to take a break from upgrades and try to enjoy it. If you want to take a look at my first version of my home theatre, I'll leave a link in the description below so that you can check it out after this video, and if you'd like to see my journey from start to finish, I'll also leave a playlist for that as well. Now before we get into the video, if you would like a chance to win an awesome RGB HDMI cable from Vivify, please make sure to watch to the end as I'll have details on how you can win it. This would also be a great time to hit the like and subscribe buttons, but let's not waste any more time, let's get into it. So before we get into the tour, let's discuss the dimensions. The room is 3.6 meters wide by 4.6 meters deep and is 3 meters high. I have a riser that is 1.8 meters deep, which is perfect for my one row of seating. This puts the distance from the seated position to the screen at just over 3.5 meters. The walls have upgraded acoustic insulation to contain the sound to the rest of the house, and the inside walls are properly treated with acoustic panels and curtains at the reflection point. For the right side wall, I have theatre blockout curtains, which made a huge impact on the way the room sounds. I'll leave links in the description to where you can buy these if you're in Australia. All up, it only sent me back around $400. We installed these ourselves, and my wife ended up making some modifications to them so that they would sit a little more evenly at the bottom, and she also steamed the wrinkles out to the best of her abilities, and the last thing we need to do is to cut a patch out for the in-wall speaker using some speaker cloth. For now, I simply just move it to the side so that it's not obstructed. For the rear wall, my friend Mick from Sydney Hi-Fi Monavale supplied me with Vicoustic diffusers and some acoustic panels to place at the key reflection points. We have a mix of absorption and diffusion so that the room still has some life to it. With the right wall and the back wall treated, the left wall was left to do, and because I wanted to keep the pattern going, I continued the acoustic panels in the same line as the rear wall. The only problem I have is that the door being so close to the front, it's just not possible to put an acoustic panel on there as it's a pocket door, which would be very close to the first reflection point. But with the amount of treatment in the room, I can honestly say it's really good. Here is an audio test so that you can hear the difference for yourself from walking outside of the room to the inside of the room. Right, so I'm going to do the echo test. You can probably hear echo. I don't know if it's coming through the iPhone speakers. It's the best way to do this test for now. So I'm just gonna back into the room and I'll continue talking. As I close the door, you'll hear the echo should be disappearing. I can hear it with my own ears. There is literally no echo. So that is what acoustic treatment will do for your room if you do it properly and you do it in the right positions. Back to the video. As you can hear, the results speak for themselves. These Vicoustic panels have a curve on them, which also helps with both absorption and diffusion. Having nice plush pile carpet also really helps with sound absorption, as well as the star ceiling, which is made from acoustic pinboard and is also air gapped. I also built the star ceiling myself with the help of my father and my wife. I won't lie and say it was easy, but we got the job done. If you're interested in learning how to do it for yourself, I'll leave a card up above so that you can check it out after this video. The star ceiling really adds to the ambience of the room. Sometimes I just leave the lighting on quite low with dark blue and sit and relax without watching anything. Put the seats back and I just watch the stars. These star ceiling light engines have a twinkle wheel which can be adjusted through the app. I have a total of 3 light engines and they are all synchronized together. I'll have links in the description to where you can buy these light engines for yourself. The star ceiling is one of my favorite parts of my home theater, and the matte finish works really well with my walls, which is in a Taubman's Black Fox. So essentially there is no light reflection anywhere in the room when everything is off, making it a very immersive experience. Going down to a single row was one of the best and most difficult decisions that I made during this upgrade process. I went with the VALENCIA home theatre seating Tuscany recliners all the way from Canada, which are single seats all joined together. I did a review on these fantastic seats, which I'll drop in a card up above if you're interested and you'd like to check it out. These seats are hands down the best theatre seats I've ever owned. Soft Italian Napa leather, 3 points of recline for head, back and legs, and make the viewing experience super comfortable. These seats are packed with features such as LED lighting, USB charge, tray tables which are great for holding your popcorn, as well as deep armrests for storage. If you'd like to get a set for yourself, I do have links in the description down below. Now, anyone that knows me knows my obsession with RGB lighting, and I use it in as many places to change the look and feel of a space, even in my barbecue area outside, and more recently, my new YouTube studio. I have a mixture of ecosystems with my lighting, with the main LED strip lighting and ceiling lighting in my theatre being the LIFX GU10 downlights inside MFT light fittings. These light fittings have a small rim around them to create a directed cone of light, which is reminiscent of a movie set. The strip lighting in the bottom of the step tread is inside a diffuser, and the one behind the seats is also a LIFX light. Using the Harmony remote, I can control the lights during pause and play, which really adds to the movie watching experience, so you don't have to go and trip in the dark if you need to go for a break. I like to sit in total darkness, so having the RGB lighting around the room really helps to create an atmosphere to the room that would otherwise be quite bland without it. Now, I mentioned my star ceiling earlier, and around the perimeter of the star ceiling I have Govee RGB lights. I absolutely love my RGB lights, and I've been very fortunate to work with Govee on a number of projects, and I have some very cool videos coming from this super innovative company. So if that's something that you might be interested in, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell so that you'll see my future videos. While the lighting can be controlled via the Harmony remote during movie time, I also have the LIFX switch at the entry to the theatre, and what I love about this switch is that you can set scenes to it, so I can turn the lights on as I walk into the room and they will go to a specific theme. Hardwired non-smart lights like my wall sconces and also my star ceiling can also be controlled through the switch. This means I can turn on what I want when I walk into the room and turn it off when I leave without having to fumble in the dark for the remote. I did do a review on the LIFX switch, which I'll leave in the description down below. For the projector, I have the EPSON TW9300, which is also known as the EPSON 6040UB. I love this projector. Even now in 2020, it produces an amazing picture. I have no plans to upgrade this projector until 8K becomes a new standard, especially as you can see it's flush up against my wall, so being a shallow room, the throw distance was quite difficult to achieve from another projector. I built a custom shelf for it, anchored into the wall studs, and it's nice and solid to hold the 11 kilos in place safely. I also love this projector as it doesn't have any speakers or fancy smart OS. It can do electronic lens shift and has lens memory and mechanical blanking, so you can actually stop the light from hitting parts of the screen. My screen is a 120-inch Encore acoustically transparent screen. Next we move to my favorite part of the home theater, and that is my speaker setup. I ended up with a 7.3.6 speaker configuration, which some may think is overkill for this size room, but I can tell you it's absolutely perfect, and although I don't listen at reference, my setup can go well past reference levels with ease. I'd like to thank Michael from KRIX for all of his help, advice and guidance during the upgrade process. I am a true fan of the brand, and if you're in the market for endgame cinema grade speakers, take a look at KRIX.com.au to see their lineup for yourself. They are not available in North America just yet, but KRIX do sell internationally in certain parts of Asia, Europe and the Middle East, and of course Australia, where they are born and bred. So I ended up going with the MX10s for my front soundstage. The MX lineup of speakers are designed to be resting on a plinth to create an infinite baffle, which cuts down on reverb and reflections, as well as they have an acoustic material on the front of the speakers, which are designed to absorb any reflections that come back towards them, as they are designed to go behind a screen. If I was to sum up the experience you get from these MX10 speakers, it's like nothing I've experienced before. The off-axis response from the waveguides means that you get a consistent experience from every seat, which is something that I'd really not experienced before in a home theater. I had the alcove and the plinth made specially for these speakers, and they are positioned so that the high frequency is in line with the seated position. The LCR speakers are all identical with a 10-inch bass mid driver, and for the high frequency a 1-inch doped fabric dome coupled with the KRIX designed waveguide. These speakers produce 97 decibels for 2.83 volts at 1 meter, so they are a sensitive speaker, meaning they don't require huge amounts of power to produce big SPL. Next to these we have the spacer cabinets, which I mentioned earlier. These panels are identical to the LCR cabinets, however are filled with acoustic material, and the opening on the front is covered with the same panels as the speakers. These cabinets help to widen the front soundstage while maintaining the infinite baffle wall. On the other side of the spacer cabinets, we have the MX10 subwoofers, which are a 12-inch woofer with a downfiring vent design and are passive, so require external amplification, which is provided through the Yamaha PX3 amplifier recommended by KRIX for these subwoofers. These subs pack a punch with very clean and powerful bass. However, due to the unfortunate shape of my room, I had a null right in the middle seat. I have a few videos on this, but I ended up buying another sub from KRIX, which was the Volcanic Slim. This sub is essentially an MX10 subwoofer, however comes with an amplifier built in and also a slightly different cabinet shape and size, which allows it to fit against the wall. This subwoofer is rated down to 15 Hz and adds a lot of tactile response to the seated position, as well as helping to even out the frequency response for the lower frequencies, which was done using the mini DSP. I'm getting a dedicated subwoofer port put in next to the subwoofer, but to get me by for now, I'm using an SVS wireless transmitter, which does the trick. I'd like to thank my friend Leo, whose own room tour I did recently, for coming and helping me with my room calibration using the mini DSP and REW. I'll show you a couple of graphs of what Leo was able to achieve in my room. My front subwoofers were fighting each other, but with some small adjustments to the timing, aligning them, and with the third sub, as well as the front left and right speakers, we were able to achieve an awesome response, sloping up by 10 decibels towards 20 Hz. The chest slam you get during explosions and other high impact movies is amazing. For my side and rear surrounds, I have the KRIX SYMMETRIX in-wall speakers, which are often used in stealthy installations as front LCR speakers, but work really well as surrounds. I run my speakers without grills as I love how they look. I had some issues getting these installed as I have water pipes running all through the walls, but they are placed as close as we could get to the design, and calibration really does help improve the performance. For the overhead speakers, I have the KRIX Atmospherics A20s, which are designed with a 20-degree angle so that you can aim them towards the main listening position, which greatly improves off-axis response. While not strictly overhead, they are close enough to overhead that the effect is indistinguishable, and there is a lot of channel separation between them and the surround speakers, and having 6 overhead speakers allows object-based sounds to get quite accurate with their placement, which is highlighted even more now with the acoustic treatment. My favorite films to demo with object-based sound are Captain America Civil War with the airport scene.
I won't ask a second time.
Look, I really don't want to hurt you.
I wouldn't stress about it.
And more recently, episode 1 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where the Falcon is battling the helicopter. I knew early on that I wanted my theatre equipment to be in my office closet. During the build, I had air conditioning vents put in to keep the space cool, and I have a 38 RU rack as well as all of my speakers, and Cat6 cables are all terminated in there as well, with a pass-through patch panel to go into my rack. Having the rack outside the theatre room meant that it would keep the room quiet and also far less heat generated in the room, as well as no need for cabinets up the front or in the sides, which also would take up a lot of room. The best practice for setting up your rack is to have your networking and your lighter gear at the top and your heavier gear down the bottom. So I have a Sanus multi-volt power adapter, which also has built-in lighting and low voltage adapters at the top with my patch panel and network switch. The switch is the Linksys LGS 552P, which is a layer 2/3 managed switch, which allows me to segment my network for things like cameras, which also run off power from the switch as its PoE. Next, I have the Apple TV 4K, which is the primary workhorse for my home theatre. On my Apple TV, I have all the streaming services like Disney+, Netflix, Apple TV+, Binge, which is a local one to Australia, Amazon Prime, and KO Sports. I have a Mac Mini server which handles some other tasks and automation services on my network. Next, I have my Synology NAS, which is a DS1817 Plus with 8GB of RAM, and I run both my cameras and also my Plex Media server on it, and it is the backup for all of my video files for my YouTube channel as well. My next upgrade will be to add a 10GB Ethernet card to it so that I can directly edit my videos on the NAS. For physical media, I have the Panasonic UB820, which works great for my setup. It's fast and the audio and video from it elevates it well above streaming services in most situations. So that I can tune and have multiple subwoofers, I have the Mini DSP 2+4 HD, which I did mention earlier. Next we have the heart of the home theatre, which is the Denon X8500H, which I used to replace my Pioneer LX503 as I needed 13 channels. I went with the Denon because it was the flagship model, produces plenty of power, has great features and works really well in my setup. I get a lot of questions as to why I went with the Denon 8500 instead of something like the Marantz processor with separates. Basically, it came down to budget. To do the pre-pro and separates would have been double the cost of just the Denon, and I decided to go this way because I'd either still be saving for the processor and not be able to use my home theatre yet, or go with the Denon, start to get the amplifiers, and then once I have enough amplifiers, I can switch the Denon to pre-pro mode and turn off the internal amplification. My dream pre-pro setup is a Trinov, and for the cost, I'm still quite a bit away from being able to get one, but I am saving for two 7-channel Electra amplifiers, which I've mentioned a few times in some of my other videos. They're locally made here in Australia. I'm hoping to get my hands on one very soon for a review, so that I can make a video on it, but essentially for now, my home theatre upgrade journey is on hold. Next we have the Yamaha PX3 amplifier, which is recommended by KRIX to pair with the MX10 subwoofers. KRIX were kind enough to supply me with a calibration video so that I could follow it and make sure that I had all the settings done correctly. For clean power, I have the Monster Power conditioner, which handles the amplifiers, and for my IT equipment I have the Eaton rack mounted UPS. Righto guys, that concludes the tour. It's been a long time coming and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and if you liked it, make sure that you smash the like button for me and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'm by no means finished on my home theatre journey. There is always something that needs doing, such as one day finishing off and building a hinge for my screen. That's something that I haven't been able to do yet, and it's something that I'm very determined to get done. Now, for those of you who stuck around till the end, if you'd like a chance to win a very cool RGB HDMI cable from Vivify, click the card above right now and watch the home studio build video. All you need to do to enter is to leave me a comment in that video and the winner will be pulled at random. The draw ends on April 5, although depending on the time it takes me to make this video, I might extend it a little further. Anyway guys, thanks again for watching, but that's it for this one. You'll catch me in the next one. Bye for now.